All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So everybody's doing well. Happy Monday. The time is flying. It is the 10th of June. Another good week to be able to trade. Put a seven in the chat if you're happy to be here. I think it's always good to take some just reflection, just to tell yourself what we're grateful for, the ability to be able to trade. Let me address this camera. I feel like I'm sideways. But the idea that we can come into these markets and make some money with our mind. Now, this is the first time that you're watching. My name is Coach Brian King, founder of Kingdom Day Traders. Our mission is to touch 100,000 lives, people and individuals, to learn the skills of day trading so we can live life on purpose and build God's kingdom. Now, with that being said, we have a lot of information today. I've put together almost kind of like some PowerPoints and just takeaways that we can have this morning. Shout out to Mr. Paul in Canada. Good morning, sir. Hope that you're doing well. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, one of the questions that I want to ask, because this is pre-market, I'm on Central Time, so it's 7:30 a.m. CST. New York, it's 8:30. Literally about an hour before the markets open at 9:30, or less than an hour and some change. So one of the first things that I mentioned last week, if you dialed into the show, is that we want to see what's been going on behind scenes that potentially can be driving the market. And so I put together this. Let's read it together. I can get you a copy. So let me know if you want a copy of this as well. Okay. So did some research and market movements for ES and NQ. Okay. ES, write this down, please. It stands for the SP 500 in the futures market. And the NQ is the NASDAQ 100 as well. Now, as we're looking at pre-market setups, we want to find out, has anything been happening that would move the market? Let me put on these lights. I'm sorry. I thought I did this. There you go. It's a user error. There you go. I can shine now. It's all in my face. So this morning, influenced by several factors of a little bit of the movement. Movement number one is upcoming this week. Put this on your calendar, Wednesday, upcoming Federal Reserve meeting and inflation data. Investors are cautious ahead of key economic events this week, particularly the Federal Reserve's interest rate decision and crucial inflation data. The market is closely watching these events to gauge future monetary policy and economic health. If you can, put like 5 to 6 stars, just star, asterisk, asterisk, circle in red. This is huge. It will move the markets greatly. Greatly. Just think about this. Whatever decision that they make, let's just say inflation is getting out of control. Maybe they might try to offset it by raising interest rates. What can that do in the market? Look at the prices that's going right now. So even CPI reports are coming out this week, and we'll go on that a little bit later to explain that too. Number two, please pay attention. Global economic and political events. European markets have been sell-offs due to political uncertainties, such as the recent snap election in France, adding to the global market's unease. These sentiments spill over into the U.S. futures market, affecting SP 500 and the NASDAQ 100. Does that make sense? Number three, recent economic indicators. The markets are digesting recent economic indicators, including non-farm payroll last Friday, which provides insight into the labor market and economic momentum. Any significant deviation from expectations in these reports can lead to volatility in the futures market. 4, technical indicators and market sentiment. Technical analysis and trading signals are also playing a role. For example, traders are using various technical indicators to make short-term decisions based on market momentum and sentiment. Let me just speak to everybody. You guys finding this valuable, because this is the type of stuff that moves the market. Somebody just put a 10 in the chat if you're tracking with me, and let's keep it rolling. Okay, so just wanted to kind of put out these 4 bullet points as well. Now, another thing that we want to pay attention to, let's start looking at some of these, red folder news. Today is going to be pretty much of a quiet day. Let me know if you guys are actually seeing Forex Factory. You don't have to be trading Forex to use it, but it's very good to be able to identify. Let me just go back. I don't know why it's not sharing. It says stop sharing. And then we'll go ahead and share this instead. Yeah, you got to love when this stuff is working, right? All right, so let me share screen and then share this. Beautiful. I think we should have this up. You guys see this? Beautiful. So, top of the week for today is kind of quiet. June 10th is today. Again, this is going to probably be some minor movements today. But again, if I'm you guys, I'm going extreme. I'm looking at areas that the market possibly can go to. And we want to look for some extreme manipulation that can happen as well. Reason being is that they're going to use this. Right now, the NASDAQ is sitting at 19,024. I'm talking about the E-mini. That's very high. We're breaking records. We want to see is that sentiment going to continue to keep on going by Tuesday. And this is Red Folder News for GBP. If you're trading that, we have the claim it count change. And then as we scroll down on Wednesday, Wednesday is like battle day. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. So we got a CPI report that's coming out 7:30 a.m. CST. So that's 8:30 New York. Core CPI. Right around 1 o'clock, federal funds rate. We're going to have the Fed speak about economic projections, even a statement. And then we'll have the press conference. So truth be told, for some people, maybe you might need to stay out the market on Wednesday, just to be truthful with you guys. And then watch this. We're going to have month-over-month PPI on Thursday, followed by Friday. So it's going to be a bloodbath this week. I'm not trying to be negative, but I've seen a lot of people lose money this week. So if you can, do me a favor and stay out the markets if you do not know what you're doing. Put a 10 in the chat if you heard me say it. I'm going to capture it on here because I want you to hear what I'm saying. Like, just don't try to chase the money this week, because if you do not know what you're doing or you're trying to hit home runs and you're wrong, you will lose a bunch of money. Does that make sense, everybody? We should have more people responding to me. Thank you, Mr. Paul. Thanks, Miss Jill. Thank you, Miss Marilyn. That's making some sense. So let me bring this up as well. What we also want to focus on is just market sentiment, right? And so market sentiment analysis and tick indicators. Okay, let's keep it going. This is going to be very short, but very powerful. Whenever we're looking at market sentiment, in essence, what we're trying to do is understand the mood of investors and the market as a whole. So write that down, please. Shout out to Jason as well. What is the mood of investors? That is market sentiment. What are investors believing is going to happen with the information that's at hand? The market sentiment indicators help traders gauge market conditions and potential price movements. Does that make sense? So as we're using these indicators, as we're looking at the sentiment, we're trying to get a gauge of what we should do with the information that's at hand. Does that make sense? I'll give a perfect example if you want to see what I'm talking about. Recently, President Trump got convicted of, different indictments, and I forgot how many felonies it was. Now, if you heard that in a headline, normally it would sound like it is horrible, correct? Tell me why his campaign has now raised, and I'm probably shortballing this one, between 50 to $100 million. And it might even be even higher. Watch where I'm going with this one. So we had a headline, but the market sentiment is different than the headline. It's how people are reacting to the information. Does that make sense? You guys track with me. Just put a 10. So we want to look at the reaction of what people are thinking. And in that, as traders, we can use that information to say, hey, I see what's going on. Hey, that makes sense. Some of this stuff, a bad report can come out and the market can keep on shooting up. And you say, how in the world did that happen? So that's stuff that we want to pay attention to when it comes to the market sentiment. Now, specifically, let's just say we're doing pre-market. You know what we want to pay attention to, because a lot of us have been asleep. It's night our side. Overseas, Jason, you're in Cape Town. You want to pay attention to what happened in the Japanese market and also the Australian market. So that market can affect what happens in our futures market. Mixed economic conditions, but resilient stock market performance. Yep. Positive trends could support global equities, including the SP 500. Why is that important? If we're getting global equities, and let's just say some of those equities can run parallel with the ones that are in the SP 500, we can see that the overall stock market is going up because the SP 500 is 500 of the largest companies within the United States. Also, if you look at the Australian market sentiment, active and adaptive market with regular index and adjustments, and that can affect changes in the SP 500 and the Australian Index 200 can impact investor sentiment. So I think the biggest takeaway in this is if you're listening to me this morning, is you want to get a gauge and not just limit yourself to think, well, the markets move just because what happens in the United States. Shout out to Mr. Leaf. Good morning to you as well. Does that make sense, everybody? And let's keep it going. Now, there's also another indicator that you can use. This is very powerful. Write this down. TICKQ. TICKQ, right? Measures the number of NASDAQ stocks trading on a uptick minus those on a downtrend. The positive tick Q indicates bullish sentiment and negative indicates bearish sentiment. You guys see what I'm saying? So there are so many tools that we can use when we use them correctly that can give us an edge. Now, write this down, please, as well. If you're trading ES, SP 500, you also can use the VIX. I was on a show before. One of the guys, man, great guy's name is Mark Sebastian, always talked about the VIX. The VIX is an indicator that measures the fear in the markets, right? So when the VIX was low, normally the SP was strong, and vice versa if it was high, if it was the reverse. So we're going to start to put all of this stuff together, okay? Lastly, the tick indicator measures the number of NASDAQ stocks trading on an uptick minus those on a down kick, okay? Used to gauge market sentiment for the SP 500. Positive tick values indicate bullish sentiment. Is this making sense, everybody? Negative values indicate bearish sentiment. Okay, so let's start to put all of this stuff together. I know there's a lot of talking this morning. I'm having fun, but before we jump on charts, we need to know what we're talking about, okay? So let me pull up a chart, see what's going on, and then we'll take it from there, okay? Let me just do this. All right. Are you guys seeing what's going on? Yes. Can you see my chart? Awesome. Let's start to break it down. Let's see what we see. Let's see what we see. So let's just take everything from scratch. I think that's very important. Very important to take it from scratch. Also, I like to mark out my times over here, right? So here's what we're looking for. We're looking at 0700, and this is EST time as well. Okay. How am I doing this? I am going to do a Alt V. This is a Windows computer. I have both Mac and this, right? Alt V. Let me move that because that is black and it is not going to make any sense on here. You guys see that? And then I'm going to go to about 11 a.m. Okay? Alt V. Are you guys seeing what's going on? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay? Specifically, we're looking in here to find out what can be created. You guys tracking? That's what we want to see. Okay? Let's break it down. Now, as we look at this, I want to kind of zoom out a little bit. I want to go to my daily. And as I'm going to my daily, what I'm wanting to see is, and I'm getting a bunch of screaming in the background. That's what I keep on stopping. Sorry about that. I'm wanting to see what is the market doing. So this is June 10th, right? Let's go ahead and see what it looked like on Friday. And I just want to kind of put a line so that we can gauge what was happening on Friday. Okay, you guys see that? And please copy what I'm doing over here as well, folks. Please copy that. Let's just put that in a different color that sticks out. Maybe let's just do a purple. I like purple. Does everybody see what I'm doing? Let me go back to the chat. You guys tracking with me, right? Good. Let's keep it up. So we're looking at this, right? We kind of have our range. We're wanting to see what does it look like. So again, that's daily. We shot a high and a low to have a range of what that looks like. And now we're trying to find out, particularly where can the market go. We're also looking at this huge candle. So we're paying attention to this candle, right? And we're going to see what's inside of this candle, right? We're trying to get a gauge of what that looks like, what's going on inside of this candle. Very, very important. Okay. Let's take it down to the 1 hour. And now let's get some more information. Ah, I'm identifying some nice zones up here. We're big on understanding our institutional supply and demand. Very important. We do understand that you also need to add stuff to the market. So supply and demand is a good foundational point, but we still want to be aware of what the market is doing. And we don't just stick with just the supply and demand, but we use that as a good starting point. But we also need to get some additional information to gauge where the markets are. Does that make sense? We need to gauge where the markets are. Okay. You guys tracking with me? Now, notice on the 1 hour, I've identified a selling area, a buying area. Oh, correct. And I'm looking right here to see as we look at this particular candle, we're going to zoom in and we want to see what's going on with this candle. Does that make sense? We want to see what the candle is saying. Okay. Because the candle is saying something. Now, let me just pause right quick. I'm going to go down to the chat. We got more people on here, 17. You guys talk back to me. Hopefully, you're taking this out. It's making some sense. But we're trying to build and see, does this make sense for what we're doing? Okay. You guys track with me. Let's keep it going. Okay. So I'm looking specifically at this candle. I already put out what's going on. And now I'm trying to build my story, like what's happening. How can I benefit from this? Right. That's what I'm kind of concerned about. Okay. Let's zoom into the 15-minute. Who's seeing this? So what we see in this area is something called an FVG. Let me change the color. And look what price did. It literally went into this box, and we like it to go in at about 50%. It started to dig inside of this box, and now it's failed. And so what we want to look and see is, do we have any things that we can run into, any potential walls? I'm actually seeing one right here. You guys see that? I'm looking at the size of these candles. And check out what I want to do now is, since we're getting some downward momentum, which is good, I want to put on the VWAP and just kind of see where is it ranging. But before I do that, I like to use one of my favorite tools called the Fixed Range Volume Profile. Yep. And sidebar, if you're not able to use these different type of indicators, this is a paid subscription. So you will have limitations if you're just running on the free one. In some cases, they'll just keep on and they'll give you ads to death, right? So if you want to take trading seriously, you're going to have to pay for some of this stuff just to have the necessary tools. Is that making sense? So look at this, everybody. We had this red line right here, point of control. Price literally came into this area. Right above here was this selling area. You guys see it? And now we're seeing zones within zones. Zones within zones. Let me go to the chat right quick. Is this making some sense? Is this making some sense? Yes. Is this making some sense? Oh, Paul, FVG stands for fair value gap. We actually talk about that in that Kingdom Elite group as well, where we kind of go into depth with some of those trainings so people have a clear understanding. But it's a gap that's created between candles, and you can see the market retrace a lot of times to go back into it. Now, here's the strategy that we're looking for right now. We're seeing that we're getting a downward momentum. Literally, it's 8:52. Right? We have about, 37 minutes before the market opens. And what we're trying to identify is there a place that the market will return and go back to? You guys understand it? Now, as I'm looking at this, here's another thing that we need to pay attention to. And just forgive me, I got a couple of screens up, just double checking some things right quick as well. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. We want to find, are there entry points that I can get into the market to make some money and capitalize off of? I'm seeing one right quick as well. You guys see that? You say, Coach, how are you seeing these things? You've got to practice, people, right? Practice makes permanent. Please type that in the chat. Practice makes permanent. Yeah, put that in the chat, please. As we're learning this, we have to practice what we're looking for to train our eyes so that we can start to win. Anybody want to win? Great. Talk to me, please. So look at this candle. It's dropping pretty good. Does everybody see it, right? Some of us might be tempted to jump into it. I get you. What I'm going to say is let's be very smart on how you're doing that, because how you do it can put you in a position to win at a great level, but you have to be aware of what you're running into as well. Does that make sense? What are you running into? I think that's very, very important. All right, look at that, folks. So I'm liking this candle. I think we're getting some good movement going down. Let's track it. We saw where the point of control was. And guess what I'm doing? Meanwhile, as I'm looking at this, I'm also looking to the left side to see, are there areas? Is there anything that I can run into that could either slow me down or prevent me from taking profit? Does that make sense? That's what I'm thinking about the whole time. I'm being very intentional about this. I can't tell you how many times I've seen traders take major trades and they take it into areas where they're going to run into a lot of traffic. And if you run into a lot of traffic, you have to be careful, because if you're not careful with this, you can actually give up a lot of your profits. Now, let me just ask, do you want to give up your profits or do you want to keep your profits? So we need to know if we're running into a wall. Let me just pause right quick. How many people would trade into the wall? Right. Good. Yes. Paul, I like what you said. How to get your corner to goal practice. Exactly. Shout out to Alan as well, man. Practice makes permanent. So look at what I'm doing right quick as well. Although I love this move, wisdom tells me, hey, maybe I might want to wait because there is a gap right here. Now, please listen to me. It would be beautiful if we can catch it, if we can see price return up into this gap about 50%. So then we could take it to the downside. Anybody like that idea? I know that I do. Now, if we're taking it to the downside, guess what I want to do? I want to sweep this bottom here. Does that make sense? I want to sweep the bottom. I don't want to just be stuck. I don't want to be stuck. Now, again, let's pay attention to what the market is saying. We do have a wall in front of our face. Do you guys see that? I'm looking at it at the 15-minute. Now, we could get a push down where the market tries to close down on this position. So what's a visual tool that we can see that can give us a gauge of what this thing is actually doing? What's a visual tool? You guys, we can put together and use the VWAP. You guys understand that, right? Volume weighted average price. Let's use it. I like to use this one because guess what it's doing right quick as well. Let me see if I can take out some of this stuff. And let me go back. You guys, let me know if you're getting some value, please. Please, that's how I judge myself, man. I'm like, hey, man, I want people to learn. We're not learning. I don't feel like I'm doing my job. Let's take out this gold. Hold on here. You guys see that? Selling pressure going down, went above it quickly, and now we're below it, which is telling us we're selling. Now watch this. How to use the tool correctly. Listen to me. You can take out a hammer, a screwdriver, a Phillips, but if you don't know what you're doing, it doesn't make any sense. I don't care what tools that you have. So it's not about, let me just use a tool. How do I use a tool correctly so that it could benefit me and give me an edge? Is that making some sense? Again, we're looking at the NQ right quick as well. You guys track with me. So I want to go back and I'm going to use this indicator. Write this down if you're taking some notes. Volume weighted average price. And what I like about this particular overlay is look what happened. You see the one in the middle is the VWAP. It's the one in the middle. You guys see this? On the outside, I call that outside line 1, outside line 2, but it gives me a gauge of how far this line is from there. Now, folks, I'm making some money on the side. You guys can't see it. I mean, if I'm publicly recording, I can't say, look what I'm doing, but look at what's being done in front of you because there's so much money that can be made if you see the right places to go. So please track with me, please. Does everybody see this green line? Somebody talk to me, please. Look at this green line. I'm going to put it in. Let me change the color. And look at this one. So, would you like a word of wisdom? This might help somebody. This might help somebody. A lot of times when I'm trading, I'll look at these outside lines, and these outside lines serve as a gauge to let me know how far price is getting from the average. Write this down, please. Institutions use this to gauge how far can we push the market. Can we push it far from the price? Can it? Let's see how high it can go. Let's see how low can it go. But what price tends to do, please listen to me. It tends to return back to the VWAP. It tends to return back to the average price. So if you look at what's going on just in the back right quick as well, price left down, shot up, but it's kind of bouncing around this line. Look at this one. It's broke below it. All of a sudden, it broke above, and it went back and forth, and it's almost like it's trying to take you on a journey. So it's your job to be aware of what's the going price and what's the going rate. Does that make sense, everybody? Hopefully, you're learning something this morning. Now, here's what I like to do. I know we have a lot on here, but again, I'm using this as tools to be able to help you out. Does that make sense? So look what I want to do. I'm putting this circle in the middle. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And the reason that I'm doing that is I want to see how far price is going to get away before it tries to return back there. Does that make sense? I want to see how far. And also, I want to see from a momentum standpoint, is there a possibility that price might drop further based on to what I'm running into? You guys see it? Let me go back to the chat because I don't want to just have a monologue. I want to have a little bit of a dialogue as well. Let me see if this is helping somebody. You guys talk to me. Let me see if this is helping somebody. Good. Good. Thank you. Charge, I love that. Learn to learn. I like that. Beautiful. Look at this. We're starting to get some buyers that are coming in, and we're getting buyers that are coming in because of where we're at on this. So it's always good to identify, are we running into a wall? Does that make sense? Are we running into a wall? And if we're running into a wall, how can I make money off of it? We got Jason saying 100%. 100%. Come on. I love that. Good. Look what Charger said. Good. Also note that top is indecision candle followed by decision candle. In that case, gave you bearish candlestick plus the VWAP confirmation of rice money. I love that. That is his saying, rice money. Yes. Now let's go a little bit deeper, right? I want to kind of bring this on here. We're going to come back, so we didn't go anywhere, but you guys just chillax a little bit and let's look at this quickly. Okay. So fundamentals of market analysis, and I talked about that this morning. And let's just go there. So number one is economic indicators. And quickly, if we have any high-level mastermind students, you guys are officially dismissed. Make sure to join Coach Chapman's class this morning. I know he has some great stuff for you. I know this class is interesting when I'm doing the pre-market setup, but make sure you're on time because there's a lot of information today. Okay? Let's go a little bit further and I can get back. So when we look at the fundamentals of market analysis, if you can, just take a visual picture of this. Thank you, Alan. Talk to you soon, brother. We have economic indicators. We talked about this. We talked about gross domestic product. We have unemployment rates. We have interest rates, inflation rates, news and events, global news, and economic calendars. Now, please listen to my statement. I don't care how good you are at technicals. Listen to what I'm saying. If you don't understand the fundamentals that actually move the market, you will lose a bunch of money because the fundamentals drive the market. The technicals show us the setups to take. But let you look at a nice market structure and think that you found a great trade, but let you not be aware of a report coming out. Let you not be aware of a raise of interest rates. Let you not be aware of inflation rates. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to lose a bunch of money. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So a lot of times the retail trader is just thinking about now, but the institution trader is looking to see what is actually driving the market. And so the institution trader looks at what's going on and says, okay, good. So let me use these technicals to take it there. Let me blow your mind with this. And I've just been doing some research and just a powerful study. A lot of institutional traders will not learn candles like we're learning until 4 to 5 months of their training. How crazy is that? 4 to 5 months of your training, and you're finally starting to learn candles. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll put a great amount of study in the depth of markets and understanding market structure in time, in price. So do me a favor, please put that down. Time in price, knowing when to look at volatility, seeing what's going on, what's actually driving it. Does that make sense? So let's just get out of the idea, I just need to be a technical wizard. No, instead, you need to be a fundamental wizard. You need to be a technical wizard, and you need to understand the market sentiment of the market as well. Collectively, that is how you're going to win at these markets. Okay, let's keep it going. We're almost finished. So when we talk about GDP, and again, I did this last class in our private class, we need to understand, it's important for us to understand what a country is producing. Okay, what's their economic output? And how does that affect on the impact of market sentiment, right? What is driving the market? What's driving unemployment rates? Again, remember earlier in this, I talked about what happened in France, voting, what's going on around the world. So if you're trading the futures market, which I love, and even currency, you need to be aware of what's driving the market so that you can start to develop your edge. Is that making sense, everybody? Let's keep it moving, and then I'm going to go ahead and end on this chart. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull this up. Bear with me. And I'm having a good time too, as you can tell. Great time. All right, folks. Give me a thumbs up. Put a 7 if you can see this. Give me a 7 if you can see it. Track with me. So in closing, let's look at the setup on this one. We see that this candle has been free falling. It would not make sense to chase this candle right now. So here's what I want to see. I want to see this fall down a little bit more. And what I'm thinking is potentially it might take out this low. You guys see this? I think it might take out this low. Now, we do have a fair value gap right here, folks. It's right in front of our face. Let me just close this one out. Okay. You guys see it? Yes, it's right there. So what would be ideal for me is I want to see price shoot back into this box. If it shoots back into this box, that tells me that it's going back to grab some orders. And when it does, that is where I want to be able to find my entry. Okay. Let me move this around. Now, if I'm losing you right now, I would suggest that maybe perhaps you come to one of our master classes and even you think about coaching, because this is not something that you're just going to learn on what I'm doing right quick. I mean, I can give you all the sauce, but just because I give you the sauce doesn't mean you know how to cook. I mean, it takes a lot of work. I think people underestimate the power of coaching and community. Does that make sense? So what I would like to see is price go back into this box with the idea of price falling here and taking out this low. Does that make sense? That's the setup that I'm seeing. Now, also in this, because again, I'm looking at a 15-minute, I can actually zoom down even lower. If I zoom down lower, the good thing is I limit what my risk can be so it can be less risky. But I would want to have my stop loss right above here. Yeah, right above here. You guys see it? So boom, that's my stop loss. My stop loss sees that. Boom, I got it. So entry, which I think would be idea, would be right in the middle of this box somewhere, right around that VWAP line. You guys see that? You got green for entry, red for stop loss, and then we'll put a possible blue for TP. Right where that low is. I like that. Now, sidebar, I cannot tell you what to trade. This is an academy. You guys understand this. Demo account. Trading is risky. If you lose your money, it's on you. I didn't make you trade. You decided to do it on your own. Does everybody understand this? Stay away from places that are guaranteeing this is going to happen and I'm the wizard, so on and so forth. I do know what I'm doing, but I also take losses as well. So I say that from a mental standpoint, we got to know where our mindset is with this. Does everybody understand that? We got to understand what are we getting ourselves into? And when we understand what we're getting ourselves into, it helps us to identify what's important and how we can actually gauge the market. Does that make sense, everybody? I'm going to do you guys a favor and copy this link. I'm going to put it in the chat. Let me see if I can share this. I believe this is being shared. Is this going to be on Facebook if I share this one? Not Facebook. I think that's on YouTube. So, guys, I just shared my chart on this one. Again, I gave you the lines. Red for ST, stop loss. Green for entry. Possible blue for take profit. Again, we have a short amount on this one. So either it works quickly or we lose quickly. Regardless of what I wanted to see, I want it to happen quickly. Does that make sense? I want it to happen quickly. We want to wait for this to pan out. All right. So if you guys had some value today, just put an 8 in the chat. I want everybody to have a blessed day on purpose. Try not to stress this week. Read your scriptures, meditate, stay away from fear. If you feel like you're getting fearful, you feel like you're getting anxious, that's when you have to stay away from the markets. Go ahead and come back. It's okay to walk away if you need to. It's okay to walk away. But say these 3 M's with me: mindset, multiplication, and management. It's been Coach Brian King. You guys be blessed on purpose. Cheers. God bless, and thank you.